Chosen ones, listen to me carefully. I carry an urgent and important message today, and this message is not for everyone. This is only for those who truly walk the divine path of God. If you are not serious about your faith, if you mock spiritual truth, or if you are here only out of curiosity, this message is not meant for you. You may leave now. But if you are still here, it is because God allowed this message to reach you at the exact right moment. This did not come to you by accident. Heaven aligned this word with your spirit because you are chosen, called, and protected, even when you don't fully understand what God is doing yet. Chosen one, God has been watching the people around you, and today, He is warning you clearly. There are certain people you must avoid at any cost, not because you are better than them, but because your destiny is different. Some people are blocking what God is trying to release in your life. Some people are slowing you down spiritually without you even realizing it. If you stay with me till the end of this message, your mind will feel lighter, your spirit will feel clearer, and many things that confused you recently will finally make sense. Before we continue, chosen ones, like this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, tap the bell icon, and share this message with other chosen ones who need divine clarity. And comment 777 in the comments to declare that you are aligned with God's protection and purpose.
Why God warns the chosen about people. Chosen one, I want you to breathe for a moment. Slow down your thoughts. Let your shoulders relax. What I'm about to explain is not meant to scare you. It is meant to free you. One of the hardest lessons God teaches His chosen is this: not every battle comes as an attack. Some battles come disguised as relationships, smiling faces, familiar voices, people you love, people you trust, people you once needed. And because you are compassionate, because your heart is deep, you often don't realize what is happening until you feel tired, confused, or spiritually heavy. God warns the chosen about people because people are the most common way destiny gets delayed. You see, the enemy rarely approaches a chosen one directly. He knows you are spiritually alert. He knows you pray. He knows you hear God. So instead, he works through distractions, attachments, emotional obligations, and unhealthy bonds. That is why God speaks so clearly about discernment, not judgment. Discernment. Many chosen ones struggle here because you were not created with a cold heart. You were created with empathy. You feel deeply. You see potential in others. You believe people can change. And often, that becomes the very doorway through which your peace is stolen. Let me say this clearly, and let it settle into your spirit. God does not ask you to carry everyone. There comes a point in your walk where helping certain people no longer becomes love. It becomes disobedience. That sentence may feel heavy, but it is true. God never called you to sacrifice your assignment on the altar of someone else's comfort. The reason this message resonates with you right now is because something inside you already knows. You've been feeling it. The sudden emotional exhaustion after conversations, the heaviness after being around certain people, the loss of clarity, the inner resistance that you tried to explain away with logic. But your spirit has been speaking long before your mind accepted it. Chosen one, guilt is one of the most powerful tools used against you. You are taught to feel guilty for choosing yourself, guilty for setting boundaries, guilty for stepping back, guilty for saying no. But God is not a God of guilt. He is a God of order. And when something or someone disrupts that order consistently, He will warn you. Understand this. Distance is not hatred. Silence is not disrespect. Separation is not rebellion. Sometimes separation is protection in its purest form. Many of you wonder why God isolates you, why seasons of loneliness appear out of nowhere, why friendships fade, why certain people suddenly fall away. You thought it meant something was wrong with you. You questioned yourself. You replayed conversations. You blamed yourself. But what if I told you this isolation is not rejection, it is refinement? When God is about to elevate you mentally, spiritually, or purposefully, He reduces the noise around you. Too many voices confuse direction. Too many opinions weaken obedience. Too many emotional attachments cloud discernment. God warns you about people because your sensitivity is increasing. You are hearing Him more clearly now. Your spirit can no longer tolerate what it once did. What you used to laugh at now drains you. What you once explained away now feels heavy. That is not weakness. That is growth. Chosen ones are not meant to fit in. You are meant to stand apart. And standing apart requires wisdom. Not everyone who walks with you can walk where you are going. Not everyone who starts the journey is meant to finish it with you. And that does not make them evil. It simply means the assignment has changed. One of the most dangerous lies chosen ones believe is this: if I leave, I'm being selfish. Let me correct that gently but firmly. If God tells you to step back and you ignore Him, that is when harm comes. You are not responsible for managing everyone's emotions. You are not called to explain your discernment to people who don't understand spiritual things. Jesus Himself withdrew from crowds. He rested. He separated. He walked away. And He did so without apology. Why? Because even divine power needs spiritual order. If you have been feeling overstimulated, overwhelmed, or spiritually dry, it is not because God left you. It is because something around you is draining what God is trying to build. God warns the chosen about people not to harden your heart, but to guard it. A guarded heart is not closed. It is protected. There is a difference. Your peace matters. Your clarity matters. Your assignment matters. And God loves you too much to let the wrong people sabotage what He invested in you. As we move forward, I want you calm, not defensive, not angry. Calm. This message is not about cutting people off harshly. It is about seeing clearly. Once you see clearly, decisions become easier, peace returns, and confusion lifts. Stay with me. What comes next will help you finally understand why certain people feel wrong lately, even though nothing bad happened. That awareness alone will begin to heal you. First person to avoid: the drainer of your spiritual energy. Chosen one, let me speak to you gently here, but firmly. This part requires honesty, not fear. I want you calm, not defensive. Because the first type of person God warns you about is often the hardest to accept. This person is not evil. They are not always abusive. They may even love you in their own way. But they are draining your spiritual energy. You know exactly who I'm talking about even before I explain. Because when you think about them, your body reacts before your mind does. Your chest tightens slightly. Your energy drops. Your thoughts become heavier. That is not imagination. That is discernment. The drainer of spiritual energy is someone who constantly pulls from you but never truly pours back. Conversations with them leave you tired instead of refreshed. You feel responsible for their emotions. You feel obligated to fix, help, explain, encourage, rescue. And slowly, without realizing it, you begin to feel empty. Chosen ones attract these people naturally. Why? Because you carry light. And wounded souls are drawn to light. You listen deeply. You understand pain. You see beyond surface behavior. You believe people can rise. And while those qualities are God-given, they must be managed with wisdom. This person often lives in cycles, the same problems, the same complaints, the same emotional storms. They promise change. They acknowledge the issue. But nothing ever truly shifts. You give advice. You pray. You encourage. You show patience, and yet months pass, years pass, and you realize you are the one changing, but not in a good way. You are becoming tired. The danger here is subtle. This person rarely attacks your faith directly. Instead, they wear you down emotionally. And emotional exhaustion always affects spiritual clarity. When your energy is drained, your prayer life weakens, your focus blurs, your motivation drops, and you begin questioning yourself. That is how spiritual sabotage works. Quietly. Let me say something important, chosen one. Something you may need to hear clearly. Constant emotional neediness is not the same as genuine connection. Some people bond through growth. Others bond through pain. And if someone only knows how to connect with you through crisis, negativity, or struggle, they will unconsciously resist healing. Because your growth threatens their comfort. This is where guilt enters. They may say things like, "You're the only one who understands me. You've changed. You're different lately. You don't care like you used to." And because you are compassionate, those words sink deep. You start doubting yourself. You wonder if you are becoming cold. You ask yourself if you're abandoning them. Listen to me now, slowly, clearly. God did not assign you to be someone's emotional life support. There is a difference between helping someone up and carrying them forever. Compassion has boundaries. Love has wisdom. Even Jesus stepped away from people who refused to change. You are not responsible for saving anyone. That role already belongs to God. The drainer of spiritual energy often doesn't realize what they're doing. They are not always malicious. Many are simply stuck. But chosen one, your calling is not to remain stuck with them. Here is how you recognize this person clearly. After interacting with them, you feel heavy. Not challenged, not inspired, heavy. Your thoughts slow down. Your spirit feels crowded. You may even feel irritable or numb afterward. That is your inner alarm. They often shift conversations back to themselves. Even when you share something important, the focus returns to their pain, their problem, their fear. Your victories make them uncomfortable. Your growth creates distance, and instead of rising with you, they pull you back emotionally. Chosen one, hear this truth carefully. Not everyone who needs you deserves continued access to you. Access to you is valuable. Your presence is healing. Your words carry weight. And God does not want that power misused or drained without purpose. This is where many chosen ones disobey God unknowingly. He nudges you to step back. You feel it. You sense it. But you override it with sympathy. You override it with fear of being misunderstood. You override it with guilt. And slowly, your peace erodes. Let me give you peace now. Stepping back does not mean abandoning. It means repositioning. It means allowing God to do what only He can do. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is remove yourself so that God can step in. When you are always available, some people never look upward. They lean on you instead of God, and that is not healthy for either of you. Chosen one, boundaries are not walls, they are gates. They allow what is aligned to enter and keep what is harmful out. If someone truly values you, they will respect your need for space. They will not manipulate you with guilt. They will not punish you with silence. They will not demand access to your energy at the expense of your peace. And if they do, that is your answer. I want you to release something right now. Release the belief that your worth is measured by how much you endure for others. That belief is false. God does not glorify burnout. He glorifies obedience. You are allowed to rest. You are allowed to say no. You are allowed to step back without explanation. Your spirit knows when it is being drained. Trust it. As you begin distancing from this type of person, you may feel uncomfortable at first. That is normal. Growth often feels unfamiliar, but shortly after you will notice something powerful. Your mind becomes clearer. Your prayers feel lighter. Your joy returns quietly. That is confirmation. God is not removing people to punish you. He is removing weight so you can rise. And this is only the first warning. Stay with me. The next type of person is even more deceptive, and recognizing them will protect you from silent sabotage that many chosen ones don't see until it's too late. Chosen one, I want to settle one more truth into your spirit before we move on. When God begins to lift you, He becomes very protective of your energy. What once felt manageable will suddenly feel unbearable. What you tolerated before will now disturb your peace. This is not you becoming weak. This is you becoming refined. There is a reason your patience feels thinner lately. There is a reason your spirit reacts faster. God is sharpening your discernment because where He is taking you, you cannot afford constant emotional leakage. The higher the calling, the greater the need for spiritual cleanliness. Do not confuse emotional distance with spiritual failure. Sometimes God creates space so healing can finally happen, both for you and for them. You stepping back may be the very thing that forces them to seek God instead of leaning on you. You were never meant to be the source. You were meant to point to the source. And when you honor that truth, peace always follows. Second person to avoid, the secret competitor. Chosen one, steady your mind here. This part requires clarity, not suspicion. I am not here to make you paranoid. I am here to make you aware. There is a difference. The second person God warns you about is far more subtle than the first. They do not drain you openly. They do not constantly cry on your shoulder. In fact, they may look supportive on the surface. They may smile when you speak. They may clap when you succeed. But deep within them lives something quiet, unresolved, and dangerous. They are the secret competitor. This person does not always want what you have. They want what you represent. Your peace, your clarity, your confidence, your connection with God. And because they do not know how to access those things themselves, comparison slowly turns into competition. You will not notice it immediately. Chosen ones rarely do. You assume purity in others because your heart is clean. You project sincerity because that is how you operate. But discernment grows when patterns repeat. Pay attention to how they react when you share progress, not your struggles, your progress. When something good happens to you, their response feels delayed, forced, polite but shallow. They may change the subject. They may downplay it. They may suddenly bring up their own achievements, not loudly, quietly, casually, enough to redirect attention. That is not coincidence. The secret competitor often studies you closely. They ask many questions about your plans, your ideas, your timing. They remember details about your life better than you do sometimes, not because they care deeply, but because they are measuring themselves against you. Comparison is the seed. Competition is the fruit. And here is what makes this person dangerous to chosen ones. They don't always know they are competing. Their insecurity operates subconsciously. They genuinely believe they support you. But something inside them reacts when you rise. Chosen one, your elevation exposes hidden wounds in others. You carry a certain presence. When you walk into a room, energy shifts. Not because you announce yourself, but because light does that naturally. And light makes shadows uncomfortable. The secret competitor feels that discomfort but does not understand it. So instead of healing, they compare. They may offer advice that sounds wise but subtly discourages you. They may say things like, "Take your time. Don't rush. Are you sure now is the right moment?" On the surface, it sounds caring, but your spirit feels restrained afterward. Listen to that feeling. This person rarely celebrates your obedience. They celebrate your delays. When you hesitate, they feel relief. When you doubt, they feel comfortable. When you pull back, they relax. That is not support. That is unconscious sabotage. Let me calm you here. This is not about cutting people off aggressively. This is about reducing access. The secret competitor does the most damage through conversation, through planted doubt, through repeated questioning, through constant comparison disguised as concern. And because chosen ones value humility, you may ignore your own intuition to avoid appearing prideful. But hear me clearly. Discernment is not arrogance. God did not sharpen your spirit so you could ignore it. You may notice that after spending time with this person, you second-guess yourself. Not dramatically, quietly. Your confidence dips slightly, your certainty softens. You replay their words in your mind. That is the sign. The enemy does not need to destroy you if he can delay you. Another sign of the secret competitor is subtle imitation. They begin to mirror your language, your beliefs, even your spiritual expressions. Not because they are aligned, but because they are trying to understand what gives you confidence. This creates an uncomfortable closeness, a sense of being watched rather than supported. Chosen one, your journey is not meant to be observed by everyone. Some people need distance not because they are evil, but because proximity feeds comparison, and comparison never produces peace. Here is something you must accept without guilt. Not everyone deserves front-row access to your growth. Privacy is protection. Silence is wisdom. You do not need to announce every move God asks you to make. In fact, the more important the move, the quieter it should be. The secret competitor thrives on information. When you stop sharing details, their influence weakens. When you stop explaining yourself, clarity returns. When you trust God more than human feedback, confidence stabilizes. You may feel tempted to confront them, to explain how you feel, to seek validation. Resist that urge. Most secret competitors are unaware of their own motives. Confrontation often creates confusion, not resolution. Distance brings truth faster than discussion. As you step back emotionally, observe their reaction. A true supporter will respect your space. A competitor will feel threatened by it. They may become passive-aggressive. They may withdraw. They may attempt to reinsert themselves with questions or concern. That response tells you everything. Chosen one, God is not asking you to judge hearts. He is asking you to guard yours. You are entering a season where alignment matters more than familiarity, where peace matters more than approval, where obedience matters more than being liked. Let me speak peace into you now. Feeling this shift does not mean you are becoming suspicious or unloving. It means you are maturing spiritually. You are learning that not every smile is agreement, and not every agreement is alignment. Trust your discernment without fear. God will never confuse you when He is guiding you. The unease you feel is not anxiety, it is awareness. As you move forward, choose who hears your dreams carefully. Choose who walks close to your process. Choose who has access to your spirit. Because the next person God warns you about does not compete with you quietly. They influence spiritually, and recognizing them will protect your faith at its foundation. Stay with me. The clarity deepens from here. Chosen one, let me give you one final anchor of peace here. When God begins separating you from quiet competition, you may feel a strange mix of relief and sadness. That is normal. You are not losing people. You are losing comparison. And comparison is heavy on the soul. You were never meant to measure your walk against anyone else's pace. God speaks to you directly. When you honor that voice, confidence stabilizes without effort. Stop shrinking your truth to keep others comfortable. Stop explaining what God already confirmed in your spirit. Those who are aligned will celebrate without needing proof. Those who compete will need distance, and distance in this season is divine. Third person to avoid, the fake spiritual guide. Chosen one, slow your thoughts here. This part touches the core of your faith, and I want your spirit calm, not defensive. What I am about to share is not meant to create fear of spiritual leadership. It is meant to restore your discernment. One of the most dangerous people a chosen one can encounter is not the obvious sinner, not the open critic, not even the enemy who mocks God. The most dangerous is the one who speaks in God's language but does not carry God's spirit. The fake spiritual guide. This person often appears at a moment when you are vulnerable, searching, or transitioning. They sound confident, they speak with certainty, they use spiritual terms fluently. They reference God constantly, and because you respect spiritual authority, you listen. At first they seem helpful. They validate your calling. They acknowledge your sensitivity. They tell you that you are special, chosen, set apart. And that feels good, especially if you have felt misunderstood for a long time. But slowly, something shifts. Instead of leading you closer to God, they position themselves closer to you than God. They begin to interpret everything for you, your feelings, your experiences, your decisions. You start checking with them before checking with God. Their approval becomes important. Their words begin to carry more weight than your inner conviction. That is the first warning sign. A true spiritual guide always leads you back to God. A fake one subtly replaces him. Chosen one, God speaks directly to his chosen. That is not pride. That is design. Guidance exists to support discernment, not to override it. When someone discourages you from trusting what God is already showing you, they are not protecting you. They are controlling you. The fake spiritual guide often uses fear wrapped in spirituality. They may say things like, "If you don't listen to this, you'll miss God." Be careful. Questioning this is dangerous. You're not spiritually mature enough to understand yet. Those statements sound holy, but they produce anxiety, not peace. God's guidance brings clarity. Control brings confusion. Another sign is dependence. They subtly encourage you to rely on them for spiritual interpretation. You stop journaling. You stop sitting quietly with God. You stop listening inwardly. Instead, you wait for their confirmation before moving. Chosen one, hear this clearly and without hesitation. No human is meant to replace your connection with God. Even the wisest teacher must step aside so God can speak. The fake spiritual guide often resists your growth. At first, they encourage you. But as you mature, as your discernment sharpens, as you begin to ask deeper questions, they become uncomfortable. Your independence threatens their influence. They may respond by correcting you excessively. They may label your growth as rebellion. They may accuse you of pride simply for thinking for yourself. That accusation hurts chosen ones deeply because humility matters to you. But humility is not silence. Humility is alignment. God never asked you to shut down your discernment to prove obedience. Let me calm you here. Outgrowing a spiritual voice does not mean dishonoring it. It means the season has changed. God often uses people for a time, then removes them when their assignment is complete. Clinging past that point creates confusion. Another sign of the fake spiritual guide is contradiction between words and fruit. They speak about love, but operate in manipulation. They preach freedom, but restrict your choices. They talk about humility, but cannot be questioned. They demand loyalty, but avoid accountability. Chosen one, spiritual authority without accountability is dangerous. You may notice your peace declining the longer you stay connected. You may feel spiritually tense, fearful of making mistakes, afraid of displeasing them. That is not reverence. That is anxiety. God does not guide through fear. If you feel spiritually smaller around someone instead of expanded, pay attention. If your confidence in God weakens instead of strengthens, pay attention. If your relationship with God becomes mediated through another person, pay attention. These are not small signs. These are alarms. Many chosen ones ignore these alarms because they fear being wrong. They fear judgment. They fear leaving something that once helped them. But obedience sometimes looks like quiet withdrawal, not confrontation. You do not owe everyone an explanation for your growth. Let me speak freedom into you now. You are allowed to listen directly to God. You are allowed to trust what He reveals to you. You are allowed to walk away from voices that no longer align with His peace. Spiritual maturity is not about collecting teachings. It is about clarity. The fake spiritual guide may accuse you of changing. Let that accusation go. Growth always looks like change to those who benefit from your stagnation. Chosen one, God is not offended by your questions. He is not threatened by your discernment. He does not need intermediaries to reach His chosen. If God is asking you to step back from a spiritual voice, He is not removing wisdom. He is restoring direct alignment. And when that alignment returns, something beautiful happens. Your prayers feel personal again. Your faith feels lighter. Your confidence stabilizes. Fear loosens its grip. That is how you know you listened correctly. As we continue, understand this. Not every influence that looks spiritual is safe. Some delay destiny quietly through control, not chaos. The next type of person God warns you about may feel comfortable, even loving. But comfort can be more dangerous than conflict when it keeps you from obedience. Stay with me. What comes next will challenge what feels safe, but it will protect what is sacred. Fourth person to avoid, the comfort enemy. Chosen one, take a slow breath here. This section may touch a sensitive place in your heart, because the person God is warning you about now often feels safe, familiar, and loving. They are not aggressive. They do not argue with your faith. They do not openly oppose God. In fact, they may support you emotionally, but they quietly oppose your growth. This person is what I call the comfort enemy. They love you where you are, but not where God is calling you to go. And that makes them dangerous to a chosen one. The comfort enemy does not attack your destiny directly. They soothe you away from it. They encourage rest when God is calling for movement. They normalize delay when heaven is calling for obedience. They speak peace, but it is a peace rooted in fear of change, not trust in God. You will recognize them by how they respond when you talk about stepping out. When you speak about doing something bold for God, their immediate response is caution. Be careful. Don't rush. Why can't you just wait a little longer? What if it doesn't work? On the surface, it sounds like wisdom, but deep down, your spirit feels slightly restrained, like something just pulled you backward. Chosen one, hear me clearly. Not all caution is godly. Some caution is fear dressed as concern. The comfort enemy values stability more than obedience. They prefer predictability over purpose. They are uncomfortable with faith that requires risk. And because your calling disrupts routine, your growth threatens their sense of safety. They may not even realize it. This person often benefited from the version of you that was smaller, the version that was more available, the version that did not challenge the atmosphere, the version that stayed close, stayed familiar, stayed predictable. As God begins stretching you, they begin feeling uneasy. So they encourage you to stay. Chosen one, comfort is not evil. But staying in comfort when God calls you forward is disobedience. The comfort enemy often reminds you of your past. They highlight your mistakes. They recall your struggles, not to heal you, but to anchor you. They may say things like, "Remember how hard it was last time," or "You've tried before." And slowly, doubt enters. This is how destiny gets delayed, not through rebellion, but through hesitation. Let me calm you here. Feeling afraid before growth is normal. Even biblical figures felt fear before obedience. Fear does not mean stop. It means you are standing at the edge of something new. The comfort enemy mistakes fear as a sign to retreat. God often uses fear as a sign to trust him deeper. Another sign of the comfort enemy is how they react when you outgrow them emotionally or spiritually. They may feel distant. They may accuse you of changing. They may say you are becoming too serious, too intense, too focused on God. But chosen one, intensity for God is not imbalance. It is alignment. When God calls you higher, your environment must change. New levels require new disciplines. New obedience disrupts old routines. And not everyone is willing to adjust with you. The comfort enemy prefers you manageable. They like you best when your calling does not require sacrifice, when your faith does not demand discipline, when your obedience does not inconvenience them. But your life was not designed to keep others comfortable. It was designed to glorify God. Let me speak something that may bring both clarity and relief. You are not responsible for how uncomfortable your growth makes others feel. That discomfort is an invitation for them to grow too. What they do with it is their choice. You stepping forward may feel like betrayal to them, but obedience to God often looks like betrayal to those who benefited from your stagnation. Chosen one, do not confuse peace with familiarity. Familiarity can feel peaceful even when it is misaligned. True peace comes from obedience, even when the path feels uncertain. As you distance yourself from the comfort enemy, you may feel lonely at first. You may miss the ease of old conversations. You may miss the emotional safety. That does not mean you made the wrong decision. It means you are transitioning. Growth always has a quiet phase. God often removes constant affirmation so you learn to trust His voice alone. He removes comfort so courage can grow. He removes certainty so faith can deepen. The comfort enemy will often tell you, there's no need to rush. But chosen one, delay is not neutral. Delay has consequences. Missed timing creates unnecessary struggle. God's instructions are precise for a reason. You are not late, but you cannot afford to stay still much longer. Let me ground you here. Obedience does not mean reckless action. It means listening carefully and moving when God says move. Even if your legs shake, even if your voice trembles, even if others don't understand. The comfort enemy will not walk with you into uncertainty. They will ask you to stay where it is familiar. But God walks with you into the unknown, and His presence is safer than any comfort zone. If someone truly loves you, they will eventually support your obedience, even if it scares them. If they consistently discourage it, that is not love. That is fear. Chosen one, you are not meant to live a life that simply feels safe. You are meant to live a life that is aligned, and alignment sometimes requires leaving comfort behind. As we move forward, understand this. God is not stripping comfort to harm you. He is removing it to strengthen you. What feels like loss now will become clarity later. The final person God warns you about may openly disrespect your calling. They may mock it, minimize it, dismiss it. And learning how to handle them will solidify your identity fully. Stay with me. The foundation is almost complete. Chosen one, let me settle something gently in your heart before we move on. There is nothing wrong with you for wanting more, wanting depth, wanting movement, wanting obedience. That desire did not come from restlessness. It came from God. Comfort numbs that desire over time, and numbness is one of the quietest dangers to a calling. You may notice that when you spend too much time in comfort, your prayers become routine. Your hunger for God softens. Your urgency fades. Not because you lost faith, but because growth was paused. God never designed your faith to stay static. It is meant to breathe, stretch, and mature. The comfort enemy often mistakes your obedience as extremism because they cannot feel what you feel. They do not hear the same calling, and that is okay. But you must not shrink your response to God to match someone else's capacity. If God is stirring your spirit, honor it. Even small steps matter. Even quiet obedience matters. You do not need to leap dramatically. You simply need to move when God nudges you forward. And each time you choose obedience over comfort, courage grows stronger inside you. Peace becomes deeper, and the fear that once held you back begins to lose its authority. That is how God prepares the chosen for what comes next. Fifth person to avoid: the disrespecter of your calling. Chosen one, I want you grounded as we step into this final warning. This person is not subtle like the others. Their behavior is easier to identify, yet many chosen ones tolerate them far longer than they should. Not because they agree with them, but because they hope one day they will understand. This is the person who disrespects your calling. They may not attack you directly at first. They often begin with jokes, light comments, sarcasm, little remarks that sound harmless on the surface, but leave a quiet sting inside you. They laugh when you speak about God seriously. They roll their eyes when you mention obedience. They reduce your faith to a phase, a fantasy, or an emotional crutch. And because you are humble, you try to laugh it off. But chosen one, mockery is not harmless. This person does not see what God has shown you, and instead of admitting that, they minimize it. They label your devotion as extreme. They call your discipline obsession. They suggest you are doing too much. They question your sanity, not openly, but enough to make you pause. Their words sound like, "You're too serious." Don't overthink it. Not everything is spiritual. You need to live a little. What they are really saying is, "Your calling makes me uncomfortable." The disrespecter of your calling often values visible success over obedience. If God has not yet publicly rewarded you, they struggle to respect your journey. They want proof before belief, results before honor, applause before alignment. But chosen one, God always reveals vision before validation. When God speaks to you, it is usually long before others see the fruit. That gap between promise and proof is where mockery grows. And many chosen ones become quiet during this season, not because they lack faith, but because they are tired of explaining themselves. Let me bring peace here. You do not owe anyone understanding of what God has revealed to you. This person may be close to you, family, friends, people who have known you for years, and that makes it harder. You want their support, you want their approval, you want them to see you. But hear me clearly and without hesitation. Familiarity does not grant permission to disrespect destiny. Jesus himself was doubted by those closest to him, not because he lacked power, but because they remembered who he used to be. And that is often the problem. People who knew the old you struggle to honor the new you. The disrespecter of your calling keeps referencing your past, your mistakes, your weaknesses, not to help you heal, but to limit you. They speak as if growth is temporary, as if obedience is an act, as if God cannot truly transform someone. Their doubt is not about you. It is about their inability to imagine God doing something powerful through someone familiar. You may notice that around them, you shrink slightly. You choose your words carefully. You avoid certain topics. You soften your convictions. That shrinking is not humility, it is self-protection, and over time, it becomes suffocating. Chosen one, let me speak truth gently but firmly. Any environment that requires you to silence your calling is not safe for your spirit. This person may accuse you of judging them simply for standing firm. They may say you think you're better than them, but holding boundaries is not arrogance, it is obedience. You are not rejecting them, you are refusing to betray yourself. Another sign of the disrespecter is conditional respect. They respect you when you succeed visibly. When you fail or wait, their tone changes, their support fades, their words sharpen. That inconsistency reveals their heart. True respect does not fluctuate with outcomes. God is teaching you something important here. You do not need external validation to remain obedient. You do not need applause to stay aligned. You do not need permission to follow God fully. As you distance yourself from this person, you may feel sadness. You may grieve the version of support you hoped for. That grief is real. Allow it. But do not let it pull you back into silence. Your calling is not fragile. It does not need constant defense. But you do need to choose where you stand. Sometimes the wisest response to disrespect is not argument. It is distance, silence, consistency. Let your life speak. Over time, one of two things will happen. Either they will grow and begin to respect what they once mocked, or God will remove them from your path entirely. Both outcomes are protection. Chosen one, never forget this. God does not reveal your full calling to everyone. He gives confirmation to some and conviction to others. Not everyone is meant to understand you, and that is okay. You were not chosen to be comfortable. You were not chosen to be understood by all. You were chosen to be obedient. As we close this message, I want you calm, not burdened. God has not been exposing these people to overwhelm you. He has been doing it to free you. What comes next is peace, clarity, strength. Stay with me to the end. I want to seal this word over your spirit and remind you why God's protection is already working in your life. Even now. Chosen one, let me slow this moment down with you. When disrespect comes from people you hoped would support you, the wound cuts deeper. It creates a quiet loneliness that words cannot always explain. You begin to wonder if you are asking too much of others or if your calling is truly valid. I want to remove that weight from your spirit right now. Your calling does not require unanimous agreement to be real. God has never waited for consensus before choosing someone. He confirms internally long before he reveals externally. That delay is intentional. It strengthens you. It purifies your motives. It teaches you to stand without applause. Disrespect often reveals itself as minimization. They make your obedience sound excessive. They reduce your discipline to obsession. They treat your devotion as imbalance. But chosen one, devotion to God has always looked strange to those who live comfortably without surrender. You do not need to defend what God planted in you. Seeds do not argue with the soil. They grow quietly until the evidence speaks for itself. And when it does, explanations are no longer required. If someone consistently treats your faith lightly, do not internalize their tone. That tone is not truth. It is resistance. And resistance is often fear of what they cannot control or understand. There will be a season when your consistency speaks louder than any sermon. Until then, protect your heart. Choose environments that nourish your faith, not challenge its validity. You are not alone in this. Many chosen ones walk this path quietly. God sees you. Heaven affirms you. And the peace returning to your spirit right now is confirmation that you are listening. Hold steady. You are closer than you think. Conclusion. God is protecting you through separation. Chosen one, take a deep breath with me now. Let everything settle. What you have just received is not a message of fear, loss, or rejection. It is a message of protection. God has not been exposing these people to harden your heart. He has been doing it to heal your mind, to lift confusion, to restore peace, to help you finally understand why certain connections began to feel heavy, why your spirit resisted what your emotions tried to justify. Separation is never God's punishment. Separation is God's strategy. When God begins guarding your circle, it means your value has increased. When He limits access to you, it means your assignment requires clarity. When He asks you to step back, it means something ahead needs your full strength. You are not becoming distant. You are becoming discerning. You are not losing people. You are gaining peace. Some relationships were only meant to walk with you through one season. Holding on to them beyond that season creates unnecessary pain. God is gently teaching you to release without bitterness, to walk forward without guilt, and to trust Him without needing everyone's approval. Let me leave you with this truth, chosen one. If God removed it, it was blocking you. If God exposed it, it was weakening you. And if God is calling you forward now, it is because you are ready. Trust the calm returning to your spirit. Trust the clarity forming in your mind. Trust that obedience will always lead you where comfort never could. Before you go, chosen ones, like this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and share this message with other chosen ones who need this confirmation right now. And comment 777 in the comments as a declaration that you accept God's protection, separation, and divine alignment. Walk gently. Walk boldly. God is with you.